who couldn't go someplace by himself that he'd never been before. And as opposed to sort of screaming and saying, but why can't you just go there? It was just sort of like, well, no, you can't ask him. He can't go there because he's never been there before. And it was an acceptance of people's idiosyncrasies and a celebration of difference as opposed to an exploitation of difference.
I really like how you say that.
Yeah, so that's what we've tried to bring here, and we love our characters very much.
And I get the sense that all the actors really like each other as actors as well as characters.
They do. It's freaky how much the cast likes how much they like each other and how much they hang out. And
is that not normal?
It really isn't normal. It isn't. And I remember last year when we went down to Comic-Con, and the cast, we got together for dinner, and the cast said that they'd all gone out. They'd rented a boat down in San Diego, and they'd all gone out together on this boat, and they had pictures. And Chuck Lorre and I were thinking, oh my God, our whole cast together was out on a boat somewhere.
That's kind of scary, isn't it?
It's scary. It's sort of like your whole future is out on a small piece of wood somewhere. But they really like each other. And there's an interesting history to the show because we did the pilot twice. We did it once, and it didn't come out quite right, and CBS gave us a do-over on the pilot.
That doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen that much at all.
Yeah.
And Johnny and Jim were the two cast members who were in the original pilot and also in the pilot we ultimately shot that became the show. So they had this year of where it was clear, hey, I think we're going to do this again and stuff like that. So they hung out and became friends.
Oh, nice.
So by the time we got to doing the second pilot, these were two guys who've known each other now for a year and were good friends. And when the other people came in, it just became this sort of sense of camaraderie that spread. And
that's really cool.
Awesome.
You used the word nerd earlier. Do you think of them as geeks, nerds, or just plain scientists?
It's really hard because I've been reading about people's theories of uses of the words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So nerd has a very ambiguous etymology. Geek, do you know the etymology of geek?
Yes.
It was a job. Geek was a job that you could have.
Oh, well.
It was a performer.
Who bit the heads off chickens? Yes.
That's right. That was a job. So you could.
I don't think I knew that it was a job, but I knew that somebody.
It was a circus. It was a circus
sideshow
job. So you might be, there's the bearded lady, and then there's the geek. I mean, it wasn't just biting the heads off chickens. It was doing odd, extreme things.
Okay.
And so I think it became, it's one of those words that survives only as a metaphor, that doesn't survive.
Sure.
Because people, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I'm thinking about geek, and and you have to raise chickens. It's very hard. But so, I wonder about, those words and, what the connotations are. On the other hand, when you're in a conversation, you want to say people like that. Or people people like me and things like that. What's the word you use? So I mean, your podcast has that name. So.
Well, yeah, we titled it Geek, and I call myself a geek, and it's been interesting. Even when I was a kid, the word geek or to be a geek wasn't very popular. It wasn't an okay thing, and that's totally changing now. Geek is really all about being passionate about whatever it is you're passionate about. You can be a film geek, you can be a music geek, you can be whatever kind of geek. I'm a tech geek. And I'm seeing that word kind of change. I haven't seen nerd really change. It kind of seems to still have the same stigma.
Nerd is still, you get thrown into your locker and
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
exactly.
like that. It still has that. Except but there's also, I mean, as we move into what is clearly a nerdocratic society. I mean, you look at the result of the information age, which we clearly live in, is that people who are skilled at manipulating information.
Yeah.
Or the technology that manipulates information become the ruling class.
Totally.
This is why it's Bill Gates and Steve Jobs' world, and we just live in it. So.
Yeah, it was funny because I'm really realizing that people are accepting people being geeks. I was on the set of a morning show the other day. I was doing an interview. He said, "Well, it's good that people are geeks now." And coming from just a morning show reporter, I was shocked to hear that come out of his mouth because I never really got that feeling that people in the industry kind of accept geeks.
Well,
so.
It's interesting because the essence of what we do on the show, the underlying underlying theme of the show is everybody is an outsider, but everybody is.
Everybody is, absolutely.
Everybody is. Everybody has the feeling that somebody else, someone they know, has things better understood, more together.
Yeah.
It gets it better, knows how to move through the world better, understands things better than they do. But the math of it is, there's no, logically then, there's no person who truly gets it.
Totally.
But we all walk around feeling, gee, if I only understood it like he does, like she does, if I could only move through the world that way. And when we started, the shows, what if you were as bright, what if you were axiomatically intelligent, the most intelligent person, and still, you couldn't find your way through the world.
Still have issues, like everybody does.
There's an interesting thing, which is that, if you think about it, intelligence gives you no advantage socially. It gives you an advantage in working a crossword puzzle. But being particularly bright doesn't give you any advantage romantically,
kind of sets you back.
Socially. It might set you back and things. And it's very frustrating because you think if you're bright, you think it ought to. I don't understand because, I can read a map faster than other people. So how come I can't negotiate this party better than other people?
Yeah.
And it's,
there's a certain dynamic to it, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a big theme that we talk about.
A lot of people think that I would relate better to Penny because I do the show, I'm outgoing, but in reality, I relate more to Leonard because as a kid, that's who I was. Or all of them. I have parts of me in all of them, but I was the shy kid that hung out with the smart kids, and I couldn't navigate my way around. So. Who do you most relate to? Or do you feel that way?
No, it's interesting because I relate to all the characters very much, and all of us who write the show find our own path into the show because you have to find, so that you can write the characters, you have to find a connection to the characters. For me, the connection is always very easy. There's the part of me that, says, gee, I could participate more in the world. The part of me that says, gee, I wish I could be one of those people who just goes to parties and has a great time and all that. And that's Leonard. And Leonard desperately wants...
He wants to be normal.
He wants to be, he wants that better connection to the world. And there's Sheldon who's given it up, who said there's just no point. Everything's fine. And that's a huge part of me, the part that says, you know what, I've got some pizza, I've got Battlestar queued up on the TiVo, I'm good to go, and that's fine. And there are times where there's a little Wallowitz going on where you say, you know what, I got it hooked up, I got it, I know what I'm doing, I know how to handle the situation, and a lot of Wallowitz's, there are a couple of influences for Wallowitz. One is that during the period of time I was a programmer, I had a girlfriend.
Okay.
And a lot of the guys in my group didn't, so I was, head and shoulders above them. Even though she was a girlfriend from high school who became my girlfriend when she walked up to me and said, "I'm your girlfriend." So,
That's awesome.
So it really didn't reflect any great social skill on my part.
And how long did that last?
A few years.
Oh, nice.
We moved to New York together, and it lasted for a while. And then there was also another guy that I worked with, and he was amazingly successful with women, and he was forever bringing different women around and stuff like that. And he explained that he had two rules for being successful with women, and they were proposition every woman and have no standards.
Nice.
and so there's a lot of that going on in Wallowitz. And then Kuthar is just we worked with a guy who couldn't speak to women, who actually had selective mutism, and women would walk in the room and he'd be talking, and a woman would come in.
Kind of dies.
And it was fascinating, and we would do things. We would literally, hide a woman and have her step out into the room, and it wasn't quite as extreme, as Raj will just shut up, but he would just obviously realized he had stopped talking.
Yeah.
And
I think that's such an endearing character.
He's wonderful, and he represents the extreme beyond Sheldon of a withdrawal that's more it's more than by choice. It's by pathology, and and at the same time, I think the reason that people really like these guys, and the reason Penny likes these guys, is there's an inherent honesty to them. They, whether Sheldon's is a blunt honesty, that he will simply say what he thinks. And,
I love that about him.
And Leonard is without guile. He's honest because he doesn't know you're not supposed to be honest in situations.
Now, you guys, if you haven't seen it, I really encourage you to. And if you follow me on Twitter, then you've probably seen my tweets about this particular situation. A couple weeks ago, you had Sheldon sitting here. He was refusing to touch the sticker inside the TiVo box.
Yes.
Are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter.
Oh, you've got to get on Twitter.
No, I'm on Facebook, but I haven't been to Twitter. But I'm on Facebook, and I apologize ahead of time. I can't befriend anybody I don't know because my Facebook got completely out of control.
Oh.
So I'm sorry, and I'm speaking to you personally.
They'll understand. But if I'm going to watch Battlestar, then you've got to get on Twitter.
Okay.
We're making this deal.
But they will be the most boring tweets in the world.
That's what I thought about mine.
No, it's going to be Bill is stuck in the writer's room and is so excited that he thinks he heard lunch. That will be the tweet every day at 12:15. So
well, people love behind the scenes type of stuff.
It will be that behind the scenes. There you go.
So I tweeted.
You were talking about Sheldon and the TiVo box?
Yeah, so I tweeted immediately after I saw that, and I said, foul! Sheldon wouldn't be afraid of voiding the warranty. And then I got a lot of tweets back, and that's what I love about Twitter is the conversation. And then I tweeted, okay, yes, you're right. Sheldon's a very do-it-by-the-rules kind of guy. And so I was correct. I stood corrected on that. But regardless of whether he would or wouldn't have avoided the warranty, the fact that you put that joke in, about the sticker inside the TiVo box that would void the warranty, you don't see that elsewhere on TV. And you guys don't dumb it down, which is what I really like.
These are the conversations. I mean, and to a great extent, these are conversations that we have. We were, we every now and then we'll have a conversation in the writers' room, and either with thought, somebody say, "Oh my God, write that down," because that's a conversation for the guys, or or the writer's assistant will surreptitiously note it, or something like that. But no, there are a lot of conversations in the writers' room about upgrading TiVo boxes, and because I've upgraded the TiVo boxes in my house, and
of course,
and a discussion with another person in the room, and I said, listen, I'll come over and do yours. It's really easy. And there was a whole thing about, well, no, the warranty and blah 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 and all of that. And we said, well, yeah, that's what these guys talk about. They absolutely. I mean, they play games. They argue about. The great wonderful nerd argument is the argument that where the given is dispensed with immediately. Sheldon's no. Let's assume men can fly in his Superman argument, which is an argument I've been having for years, and it owes a debt to a great piece by Harlan Ellison. I think it's either Harlan Ellison or Larry Niven called "Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex." You can Google it.
Okay.
I think, as I don't remember, but it talks about the paradoxes of Superman, and I think it deals specifically with issues of sexuality between a hypothetical Superman and a hypothetical Lois Lane. That kind of argument, which